Good morning. It is 2024. All right. This is the case. This is readily confirmed through my documentation. But upon reviewing, I did accidentally say 2022 earlier this morning. It's 2024. I've been comparing a lot of the documentation that I'm capturing now in 2024 to 2022. So I just want to go ahead and correct that on the record. But that is, again, readily identifiable through the very documentation. I don't edit them. I leave the timestamp because of the nature of the evidence, by the way. So anyway, it is currently 8:12 a.m. March 27, 2024, okay? It's Wednesday. And just like you see every other day, the entity is engaging in the same identical conduct, all right? And when I said then, before the entity that is a group stalking, short-sighted, sex-offending minion, all right? And I'm referencing a public entity that's group stalking. And that's, I'm just being precise, that's what they are. And they are short-sighted because they were engaging in this conduct day in and day out, and they continue to do so. And all I've been doing is providing you vivid illustrations. And so you have the entity covering up its light source. You have the entity showing more. Also, I want to be clear, the more that you speak to the reality of the demon possessed, the more that they reveal that very condition that they don't want you to be aware of. And that's where you have these demons that were not engaging in this heavy duty crossing a path with engineer light. The more that I speak to the fact that this is Satan, that these are people oppressed with the spirit of Satan, the more they start to act it out. So you do have that contrast, and I want to be aware of that. But the entity would rather demonstrate that amongst the people than show you a light source that's over you, and I'm comparing it to what's over me, and I'm comparing it to what was over me at the exact same time and in a totally different area. The entity, doesn't want that to be known, and you've seen that also, because it's not a normal cloudy day. This is not the operation of a natural environment. You're seeing real-time manipulation of an environment that's not natural. You're witnessing the supernatural. You see the supernatural when you see magnified light in my apartment and the shadow of trees moving and the blinds are closed. How many times do I have to say that? I say that a lot because I need you to remember that the blinds are closed, okay? That's supernatural. Anyway, 8:12 a.m. is a vivid illustration of what the entity, or in ALVARADO Gardens in LA, when I go nowhere, I stay here all day long for purposes of making and punctuating, underscoring a point. The entity is stalking with an entire environment in the same way that a public entity is stalking in helicopters and airplanes on the roads and highways, and where the people of the state are maintaining criminal presence. That is literally recognizing the crime scene, that is the environment that's maintained around the targeted individual, and that is also recognizing that the people of the state are who surround, as opposed to any private citizen. The state is surrounding you by virtue of maintenance of an entirely unnatural environment. It is referred to as a facilitating venue. A facilitating venue could be one of a third party or a state venue. That is the very police departments where demons work and identify themselves as police officers. They're not. They're state actors. They're group stalkers. They are masquerading with badges in positions that they have yet to be disrobed of. All right. But that is a facilitating venue nonetheless, where, and you are readily identifying it. That's what you see the Ontario Police Department with the light source over their venue. While you're also going to juxtapose that with what it's remaining here over me, rising and setting, replete with the moon, day and night. So that's not the natural environment. That's the identification of a facilitating venue, excuse me. And that is speaking to the pattern of conduct. And it is also revealing the condition of those, the invisible, physical condition of those who surround. And you also know the significance of the behavior that they engage in around you and the criminal purpose that it serves. At 8:12 a.m., while I am now inside of my leasing office at ALVARADO Gardens, located at 1810 North Alvarado Street, and I am in my office facing the window, all right, which is facing the hillside. That's relevant for analytical purposes. I want it to be known the direction that I'm facing, all right? You already know the duration of the day. The entity keeps the light source here all day long as I'm facing the hillside. This is the same hillside where the entity was rising its sun. Well, the same hillside where the sun is rising, all right? At 8:12 a.m., I'm in Ontario, California, in front of 109 Hope Boulevard, which is the headquarters. That would be a state facilitating venue of a group stalker, identified by virtue of the pattern of conduct that I'm subject to while my person is being violated by the demon possessed who are monitoring me and group stalking me on Hope Boulevard and Euclid Avenue, the same intersection, by the way, where the sun is rising. So I am there at 8:12 in the morning, and that light source remains there. And you're also seeing the demon possessed, and it is evidenced by that light activity, all of which is directed toward me. You see them driving by in the shade. You'll see the light source over in the sky space, which this is not over the sky space of Hope Boulevard and Euclid Avenue at 8:12 a.m., nor at 8:13, nor at 9 o'clock, nor at 11:30, nor at 5 p.m., nor at 5:57, okay? At no time is this light source ever over Hope Boulevard and Euclid Avenue. okay? The entity was maintaining a specific environment. And also, sunlight does not ricochet off of vehicles while you're doing something as ordinary as driving. And it also does not, not only is it ricocheting, which is the light activity that you'll see, that's the identification of the demon possessed, but you're understanding what our group stalkers, while third parties are repeatedly crossing path, that's the stalking conduct. They're doing this under the light source and engineered light, and while each one crosses path, you're looking at absolutely impossible and highly demonic behavior. That is, not only is you're looking at light that's supposedly ricocheting, no, you're looking at the demon possessed who are targeting me, and you are looking at the physical evidence of it while engineered light is streaming off of a car. That's what it's supposed to appear like, and it's streaming backwards toward me. They're driving forward, the light source is present, they are also in the shade, and the light is targeting. This is speaking to the stalking conduct, the target that I am, which the demon possessed do not want to admit. They don't speak of it. They try to act outwardly as though it's not the case. You know this by virtue of the environment that you are now aware of, which is entirely unnatural. It's a demonic environment, and it's also demonic behavior. It's the evidence, the outward demonstration of demon possession. And let me be clear, at an intersection where you have hundreds of people, these are hundreds of demons that are crossing paths, engaging in identical conduct that is entirely impossible to ever occur, even one time. When I say far and wide reaching prosecution, that's what I mean. You don't need to know the group stalker's name. It's a state system. You see state actors such as Access, a demon that's driving nothing other than a commercial vehicle, engaging in the identical behavioral pattern. There is no exception. It does not matter what their race is. It doesn't matter what their age is. It doesn't matter what their socioeconomic status is. It does not matter who they think they are, what power they think they wield. They're a minion, okay? A demon, I'm sorry, I have no respect for the demon possessed, especially while they are perpetrating a crime against me, okay? So I'm going to call it what it is. These are minions. These are puppets of Satan, and they're engaged in what happens to be a very high, serious, life-threatening crime, all right? Sponsored by the government. They are in the shoes of the government while you're looking at 8:12 a.m. at Holt Boulevard and Euclid Avenue in Ontario, California, which is not visible from my office, my leasing office at 810 North Alvarado Street, where the entity is keeping the sun from rising until set, also visible through my bedroom window. The light source that's over me, and under no circumstances, at no time of day, at any time of year, under no vantage point of any sun, the light source or the actual sun, if you want to somehow still, surmise that it exists. The entity is, there is no explanation for this light that you see appearing on the sidewalk and moving across the buildings and molesting my person. That's the sexual violence. That's the targeting conduct, the monitoring behavior, which is criminal. And it is highly demented, and it is an unlawful touching. So you're looking at what is the ongoing violation of the person, and every other way, no stalker is permitted to touch you without any consent. And these demons are touching with engineered light, which is a criminal purpose for monitoring. It's serving a criminal purpose. That same engineered light is what you see inside of my apartment. This engineered light is what you see here. I've got a shadow in front of me, and I've got my shadow behind me. Okay, there would be no light activity. There would be no shadow here. There would be no sun in front of me if that was the sun at the same time at Holt Boulevard and Euclid Avenue. There would be no sunlight in alignment to my window in my living room, and no sunlight inside of my apartment. But you also know that's one aspect of the analysis. But there's also the fact that that's not even the sun, because it stays here from beginning of the day to the end of the day. So we already know this. This is analyzing it from every angle that you can fathom. It is under all circumstances the pattern of conduct. And this is revealing what is undeniable, regardless of what you claim to believe. These are the demon possessed, and the demon possessed are engaging in the maintenance of a demonic environment, which is serving a criminal system. They are monitoring with communication devices in violation of existing federal law, and I currently advocate what is additional federal laws to be passed with regard to acknowledging what is undeniable. The federal government, you can't deny it. These are hard facts. I'm not preaching out of some religious sect, okay, some religious text. These are facts, hard facts that you could present in a tribunal. All right, and with regard to this, now being empowered with this knowledge, there is the ability to legislate around it. It's the government, okay? So this is speaking to, again, what you're seeing on when these minions, like you saw yesterday, this was a whole little ambush. Access was here, using that vehicle as a means of audible activity while that demon already knew I was coming around the corner. The light source was over me yesterday, March 26, 2022. That was the 8:16 a.m. video. The entity was then crossing path, and then the Kia Telluride right behind them. And the Kia Telluride, understand that was a demon. They were crossing path repeatedly while I was in operation of my communication device. They're constantly monitoring. I was recording. That's the purpose of that Kia Telluride. They're making sure somebody stays in my path. And then you have 1805, the Asian female who was sitting in her vehicle in the parking lot behind me. She was maintaining presence in the path as well. well. A demon driving a commercial vehicle drives by apartment number 1816 number 1, and you see impossible light move all across that apartment. That's exactly what they're doing at the intersection of Hope Boulevard and Euclid Avenue. I want to be clear, that's entirely impossible light. That's absolutely impossible, and that is something that you cannot in any way explain. It is the supernatural. These are the demon possessed, and they are criminally monitoring and targeting American citizens. They're doing it to me, and I'm giving you proof of what is physically invisible. All right, it's the mark of demon possession. And while an entity wants to target and provide evidence of that, they want to let you know that they're demons. That's terrorism by an entity that's monitoring you, and this is evidence of what is terrorism that I'm subject to while they are vicariously acting on behalf of the state. All right, and that's the explanation for why you have the light source over Hope Boulevard and Euclid Avenue. You have seen the same exact identical behavioral pattern here at Alvarado Gardens. That is, again, while I have established, like I said, the conspiracy that exists between the state and the people of the state beyond clear and convincing evidence, which I believe is a legal standard. And this is also serving the body of evidence that exists already. I'm giving you vivid illustrations, not because the case is not already proven. I have already, the case against the state of California is already proven beyond a reasonable doubt. And that is also based in part on, mostly based upon the fact that the evidence itself, the substance of the very evidence, is something that is beyond the natural. You can't make this up. You cannot have a mere coincidence based on the substance of the evidence and also based on the prolonged period of time. All right, so there comes a point where it's unreasonable to even suggest that it's a coincidence. That's impossible. All right, it is a pattern, and it's a pattern that's employed by a government who's engaging in a high crime. It's supposed to be the secret society, and the secret is out. Okay, it is currently 8:24 a.m. and this is a reference to the pattern of conduct that is underway in Los Angeles. They are group stalking in the sky space, and I want to be clear, both the condition and the criminal activity is known by the people. All right, while they cross path on in this, and also while they cross path in your face. This is what Tina Reed was doing yesterday, and the entity is engaged. That's grounds of federal prison. Okay, that's the impermissible threat, and they want to go. That's fine. They will go because you will not be threatening the life of a target individual and doing so boldly while the entity is monitoring via aircraft. This is the P.O.C. and that simultaneity of behavior, a demon walking by while the demon is flying by. Understand the simultaneity of behavior. That's how demons act. It's not a coincidence. All right, so I just want to be clear, the federal prison, when I'm speaking to the impermissible threat. And I believe that is, she put evidence. I'll document that right now. It is currently 8:24 a.m. And this is P.O.C. There's no sun over Hope Boulevard and Euclid Avenue, and that is speaking to the malice with which the people of the state continue to monitor you in your face. That is also done with the intent to obstruct justice, to threaten you while they know that they're being prosecuted. That's the psychopath, and that is grounds of federal prison. And I'm going to document her right now, actually. Yeah, that is Lillian Barrera. She's going to federal prison. Okay, 1804, apartment number 6. Monitoring you and threatening you in your face. You're understanding the position of the ordinary targeted individual, all right, who is in every way unprepared and ill-equipped. There is no current jurisdiction or, current law that deals with group stalking. I'm establishing a precedent, and I'm letting you know not only that it's a crime, but it's also demonic activity made manifest before you. And while the demon-possessed seek to show ongoing hostility and threaten your life, this is something that terrorizes the ordinary target individual. And the entity acts with that intent. All right, that's called the impermissible threat. While the entity monitors you and did so in my face, while I am also capturing the entity that's monitoring via aircraft, that's the impermissible threat. Documentation has begun, and documentation began a long time ago, which the monitoring entity is very much aware of. The demon possessed are a hostile and highly psychotic population who show ongoing animosity and hostility and threaten you more, engage in more, which is the conduct of demons. All right, for example, and this isn't just I'm just letting you know, they did it so much, that's why they come to mind. Amazon Prime, heavily documented engaging in the demonic behavioral pattern, monitoring American citizens, monitoring me. As I identify them, as I would document them, you would have more and more of these demons arrive in Amazon Prime, which is, I understand you're analyzing that. Amazon Prime is the means whereby the entity is stalking you. It's the logo that you're looking at while demonic activity is underway. Amazon Prime is threatening your life and terrorizing you. That's literally what happened. That's literally how you're analyzing that. And as you document the demon, more of them gang up on you and do the same over and over and over again. It's very sick and demented. That's what demons do. Okay, Lillian Barrera is going to federal prison for that show of an impermissible threat. They don't have a right to live at the crime scene. They don't have a right to create any activity. And also, the entity is going to learn to respect the rights of the targeted individual. And by being at the crime scene, living at the crime scene, you should in every way feel like, Okay, I want to make sure I'm not on camera. I want to make sure that at least I'm not doing anything. That should be the attitude, okay? Because it's the government that is caught in the wrong. You're totally caught in the wrong. That's not the attitude, though. That's not what's going on. That's not what you're witnessing. And the federal policy, federal prosecution is going to correct that, okay? And after California is made an example of, the government will learn that it will not bully an American citizen, okay? It will not get away with it either. And you will lose everything, including your freedom. All right. It is currently 8:27 a.m. and that's documentation again. Lillian Barrera. She's going to federal prison. That was an impermissible threat. She's threatening my life. She's monitoring me in my face while the pattern of conduct is underway. And the LAPD, she represents the state. So it's not and it's not about the fact that I could do anything to her. That's not what fear is based on. It's reasonable fear. It's an entity. Understand what she represents and what she's doing and on whose behalf she's doing it. The entity is group stalking right now in planes and helicopters, and those imprudent group stalkers will provide evidence against Lillian Barrera. They already have, and they're going to do more. It is 8:28 a.m. P.O.C.